We finally saw some matches that I think were indisputably the most entertaining of the tournament. What's up? I'm Adrian, and welcome back to our coverage of all things European football this summer. We'll throw in some Copa America coverage in there too, but I mean, the matches are so late here that it makes it very difficult to include anything from Copa America in these videos unless I work for 24 hours straight. Anyways, let's go. There were definitely some questions fielded toward Gareth Southgate upon the lineup being released. No Sancho, no Shaw, no Grealish, Sterling with the start, Trippier playing as a left back. I mean, it was absolutely fair to at least wonder what Southgate was thinking. But it's also fair to say that the players he chose did fairly well for the most part. Sterling got the goal for England in the second half, so credit to him. And there were some misses from him along the way, but that's what you get from Sterling. Oftentimes his quality, which he undoubtedly has, let's be clear. He undoubtedly has quality, but sometimes it outweighs the negatives, such as the misplaced passes and the poor finishing, and sometimes it doesn't. Considering he scored the winner, however, I'm not saying it excuses the rest of his play, which wasn't even that bad in my opinion, but it is easy to forget when you get a 1-0 win thanks to him. One thing I will say is that it's still difficult to understand England's approach, and given the technical ability of the players that Southgate has at his disposal, while they did get the right result, there's a feeling of a bit of a missed opportunity in my opinion, a feeling of untapped potential in how this team could really play. Granted, I know that Croatia is not some slouches, but still. A lot of the time it felt like England were defaulting to just playing long balls from the back, which worked early on, as I think Croatia's back line was a little too high, and with some nice work from Foden, he nearly opened the scoring, his strike hitting the post. But once the Croatian backline dropped a little bit deeper and the midfield sorted itself out, Croatia started to control this match well, and the long balls from the back were largely ineffectual. Plenty of long balls trying to spring Sterling or Foden, many of them easily dealt with for the most part. And Kane, I mean, nowhere to be seen. He was dropping too deep, I guess, for those long balls. Speaking of easily dealt with, one of the big positives from this performance would have been how their defense and midfield handled the Croatian attack. I struggle to think of one difficult save that Pickford had to make, really. Stones and Mings repelled every cross, they blocked shots, Rice dropping deep to contribute as well, and of course, the man of the match in my opinion, Calvin Phillips, contributed as well. But Phillips was also one of the main catalysts of all things good while England were going forward. He's the one that played Sterling through for what was the eventual winner. He was breaking up play, he was spraying passes around, and he had a couple decent strikes from outside the box. Very good showing from him, and you'd be surprised if he wasn't the first name on the team sheet going forward. I thought the first name on the team sheet was Grealish, but man didn't even play. Croatia did well to ice Harry Kane out of this match, a frustrating one for him really. Phil Foden, aside from that early chance, was dealt with well by the Croatian defense also. Speaking of Croatia, it's simply amazing how well Modric continues to play at his age, 35, and he was running circles around people. Some were 10 years his junior. I think that this match was pretty par for the course as far as my expectations, especially around Croatia. They have some incredible midfielders, a decent defense, and the attack struggles. Said struggles, of course, are partially down to how well England's back line performed. But I do worry just a little bit about Croatia going forward. Ante Rebic, coming off of that season he had with AC Milan, is not it. Oh, and shout out Jude Bellingham for becoming the youngest ever player to take part in a European Championship, as he came on in the second half and became the youngest ever player for England at a major tournament as well. Goran Pandev, remember the name. North Macedonia made their major tournament debut last night in Bucharest as they took on Austria, and honestly, this North Macedonia side is a ton of fun to watch. They aren't afraid to play their own game, and they aren't afraid to attack. They take risks on the ball, they don't just play it safe all the time, sometimes to their detriment. But my goodness, Igor Angelovski's side is fun to watch, and they show a ton of character. It was the Austrians who took the lead in this match, however, as Gladbach's Stefan Leiner finished cleanly from a long diagonal ball into the box. Not the easiest of angles either for him. It was a great finish from the wing back. He also had a stunning tackle in the second half, man. Beautiful stuff, reminded me of Gabriel Heinz. But I mean, North Macedonia's attackers such as Elmas, Pandev, and Bardi were electric on the ball at times, and they certainly would cause problems. When Austria's wingbacks would overcommit, it opened up space for North Macedonia to attack down the flanks. And eventually, a bit of a mix-up from Austria's keeper, Bachmann, led to Pandev poking in North Macedonia's first ever goal in a major tournament. A weekend of firsts here. Great stuff. So with the score at 1-1, the second half saw Austria really push for a winner, with North Macedonia looking dangerous on the counter. That left side with Elmas saw a ton of joy for North Macedonia. Mind you, they didn't manage to trouble Bachmann in the second half compared to the industry that Austria had going forward, thanks in part to guys like Leiner going forward, which, you know, effect and cause. Tons of credit to Austria manager Franco Foda as he got his substitutions and tactical changes nailed on perfectly. With David Alaba pushing further up the pitch into the midfield, he was able to dictate play more, get more involved, float out to the left to utilize his great delivery. Michael Gregorich, who had replaced Chris Baumgartner, ghosted into the box to meet a beautiful ball from Alaba that had curled around the defenders and just needed a touch from an Austrian attacker, and it got exactly that. Incredible cross from Alaba, truly, and a great touch from Gregorich, who, like Leiner, dedicated his goal to Christian Eriksen. We'll expect to see a lot of that in the coming days. Late on, the substitute, Marko Arnautovic and Konrad Laimer linked up to make it 3-1 to Austria. A very entertaining match in my opinion, plenty of opportunities. Always great to see a country make their major tournament debut, and I think North Macedonia can be proud of their performance, all things considered. Austria doing what they have to potentially make it out of this group. All points are precious when the top third place teams can make it through, so that 3 points is invaluable. For me, this was easily the most exciting back and forth match of the tournament thus far, and truly a joy to take in. I loved Austria versus Macedonia. That was great. But this match, ooh. De Boer went with a back three and an unpopular choice apparently. Earlier in the week, a plane flew over the Netherlands training that said, De Boer, just play 4-3-3. Now, whether that was the right choice or not depends on your perspective. They certainly afforded plenty of opportunities to Ukraine to counter down the wings, as Dumfries and Van Aanholt weren't always diligent in getting back quickly. Ruslan Malinovsky was especially dangerous for Ukraine, always looking to drive forward with the ball at his feet. Yarmolenko and Yaremchuk were dangerous as well, while Zinchenko looked comfortable in midfield, not playing out on the wing. He was mostly in the midfield. De Vrij and Blind were fantastic for the Dutch. Timber, also pretty good. It was just those wingbacks that needed to get back a bit more. Now, going forward, because those wingbacks were going forward, the Dutch looked great. They looked fluid in the attack, as Depay was dangerous in the first half, Dumfries was great down the wing, but everyone was poor at finishing in the first half. Honestly, there were plenty of opportunities for the Dutch, a decent amount for the Ukrainians, and a lot of entertainment to be had. And a couple of those chances were converted. First, there was a stunning finish from Wijnaldum as the keeper tried to, I guess, clear the ball or divert it away from the attackers in the box. And Wijnaldum, well, it came right to him and he put his foot through it into that top corner. Great finish. Then there was a good old Wout Weghorst who made it 2 with a decent finish that just ricocheted off of the keeper and in, his first in a major tournament. But you can't sleep on this Ukrainian side. You cannot. They have quality, as Andriy Yarmolenko showed in the 75th minute with his curling, stunning effort, as Malinovsky was showing with his play throughout, and his delivery to Yaremchuk just 4 minutes later to make it 2-2. Man, what a match. The finishes were stunning, and the Dutch will certainly be ruining the chances they failed to convert. Poor Dumfries. I feel for the man. And then he scored. He made up for his miss earlier in the match in the 85th minute, scoring his first goal in a major tournament. Well deserved for Dumfries, as he was great all match. It was just his finishing that was missing. Again, this was a fantastic one to take in. It was amazing to see two teams just going all in on the attack and having no regard for their defensive security at times. It was very refreshing and a great palate cleanser. The first match in the history of the Euros to have 5 goals in the second half. 3-2 Netherlands. That was fun. And a quick look at the standings. Austria actually sit atop of the group on goal difference, just ahead of the Netherlands. Ukraine and Macedonia on 0 points, and those two sides play each other next on the 17th. Group toppers face off in Amsterdam on the 17th as well. All right, that will do it for this edition of Euro Daily. I hope that you have been enjoying our watch-alongs and live streams, as well as the Fan Clash competitions. Shout out to Mo, who got that W in that England match. That was great, man. Those have been a ton of fun. All right, guys, I hope you enjoy your Monday, and I'll see you tomorrow for more coverage, watch-alongs, everything. Take care.